Hi, I am Narendra Kumar, and in this video we are going to discuss what is change data feed, which is a really good feature for Delta Lake. We will also understand internally how does it work, and then we will go to the demo part where we will see how exactly it is working in terms of coding and what are the use cases and when to use and not use this feature. So let's get started. First, we will understand what exactly is change data feed. It is the name itself suggests, like it is the feed of the data which is changing. So whatever data is changing in the delta table, those changes it captures separately and along with what exactly has changed. Let's understand it through an example. Let's say this is our original table, like version 1, where this is a primary key column, this is some data column, and then we are getting some new update, delete and new data. So for example, this A2 column, so now instead of B2 we get this value Z2, and A3, this column, let's say it is getting deleted, and then A4 column, it is a new column. So in terms of change data feed, this is what we will get. So for the column which is updated, it will capture two rows there. So one which will say pre-image, one that will say post-image. So pre-image, it will be the entry which is before updating the data, so A2 B2. Post image, it will be after updating the data, like A2 Z2. And for the deleted, it will mention like it is a delete, and for insert it will simply say it is insert. So like this, we can directly know like what all it is changing, what time it is changing, what kind of change it is, so that whatever things we want to use related to these changes, so we can use accordingly. And there is more to it which we will see during the demo. And internally how does it work or what it stores is like this. So for example, let's say this is our base path and then the table path where the data is internally stored in the delta table. So as we know, like by default it will store the all the data files as a Parquet in the Parquet format, and it will also create a folder which will be delta log, and in that folder it normally create the transaction history, like whatever operations we are doing, some metadata it will store. So if we enable change data feed on the table, then it will create this another folder in the same location, underscore change underscore data, and there it will it will create the Parquet files again. And in this Parquet file, this will not be the final table data, it will be this change data feed, this entire data that we see here in this example. So that is how internally it stores. Now let's go to the demo. Now I'm in my Databricks workspace, and here we will start by creating a new table. And while creating a new table, these are just the two columns I'm adding here. And then this is the property we need to set to enable change data feed. The property name, it is delta.enable change data feed equals to true. By default it is not set, and the change data feed it is not enabled. So if we need to use it, we need to set it up as true. So currently I'm creating a new table, but we can set up this property even for the older table which we had not enabled this previously. So that also we will see how it works. For now I'm creating this new table. After creating it, I'm just adding 3 rows to it and then saving into the same table. So let's see after adding it how will the data look like. So it has just 2 columns and 3 rows, just the name and the age. Now let's perform some operation into this table. So here first we will delete one row where the first name it is Bob, so that row we have deleted now. And then we will update this row where name is Jim, so age we will update it to something else, let's say 30 here. So we have run one delete operation and one update operation. And with this now like the behind the scene it has captured all the change data feed internally, and this is how we can read those change data feed. So let's say normally if I remove these two options first, So this is how we normally read any table, like read.format dot table. This is how it will read the original table. And in the table we can see that the row which is deleted, it is not here. The one which was updated, we see the update. So this is like final table, this is only the data. But in the same thing, if we specify these two other options, one is read change feed, which is equal to true. So instead of reading the table, it will read the change feed, which is stored in a different format, like this. So when we were reading the table, it was reading these files, but when we specify that read change feed equal to true, then it will read these files, not these files. That's how internally it works. And then the second option, it is the starting version. This we will understand after we see the output, what exactly does it mean. So let's see if we read the change feed, then what we get. So here we can see that if I sort it by this thing, so in the commit version 1, what it is doing is like it is telling that these 3 rows were inserted. So when we after we created the table, we first inserted 3 records. So that is where the change type, it is insert, and along with the timestamp we are getting here. Here the timestamp is same only. After that, when we deleted one row, so that is the delete operation it has captured, and it is captured with another commit version, meaning like this operation was after above operation. And again we got the timestamp. And when we updated one record, so for update, like we were discussing previously, we get 2 entries. One is update pre-image. Before updating the age, it was 27. After updating, it was 30. So this is how like this for the update we are getting the entries. And that is where this commit version or this starting version comes into picture. So 0 means after creating the table, whatever changes were done, so all of those we will be getting. But let's say if I specify here, for example 4, then these 1 and 2 commit versions it will skip, and we will get only the 4th version. So here we can see now we are getting only the 4th version, and that is the purpose of this option also. So as we have understood now like what exactly it is and what we are getting, now let's come to the use cases. So because it is providing the change data feed, whatever it is changing over the period of time, we can use this data in the downstream. By downstream I mean like for the next processes. Let's say if we have some process which need to be triggered or do something whenever something is deleted from this table, in that case like we can like read it like this, and we can also mention change type equal to delete, so that we will come to know like if it is deleted or not. So if it is deleted, then something in the downside also we may need to delete. That way we don't need to compare the target table and the source table. We can only see what exactly is deleted very easily, and that thing we can delete from target. Similarly for incremental load, like also it is possible to know only what is inserted and what is updated. And here also we get history as well, like before updating what was the data, after updating what was the data. So depending on our use cases, we can use it for whatever we want. But we need to be careful that by default it is not enabled, and we shall not enable it unless we need. Why? Because whatever changes it is capturing, it is creating separate folder and separate files for this. So if we enable it and we don't use it, it will be waste of the resources, because to generate it, it will use some compute. So writing the data will be slower than without enabling it. And also it will take some space in storage as well. So that will also incur some cost. So if we don't need it, we shall not enable it. And whenever we need it, then we shall enable it. And as I was telling, we can even enable it or disable it for an table like depending on our need as well. Let's say previously it was not enabled and we have done some operations, so later on also we can enable it, like just setting by this properties, like alter table set this property equal to true. then it will be enabled by default. But whatever operation we have performed in the table before enabling this, those will not be captured in the as a commit version, because that is like water under the bridge. So whatever it will be doing after enabling, those operations will be captured in the change data feed. And if we already have some change data feeds, then we disable it. So after that point, it will stop processing the change data feeds. So that's all I wanted to explain. I hope you liked the details. So if you liked it, please put a like and comment on this video. Thank you. Bye bye.